Your ability to qualify for weight loss surgery is determined by a formula called the body mass index. This formula is calculated based on a ratio between your height and your weight, and it allows us to compare people who are 7 feet tall to people who are 5 feet tall and determine just how overweight or obese that they are. That scale was developed and compared to body indices that were created in 1922. And they were based on a body scale which was a moderate sized body. There are thin sized bodies and there are thicker sized bodies, but the scale which we use today was actually developed by an insurance company in the 1920s. Even with that, we currently use that scale to determine just how overweight someone is, and we can compare people who are particularly small and people who are particularly tall. The normal body mass index right now is basically between 20 and 25. You are overweight if your body mass index is between 25 and 30. The good news about being overweight is there's no terrible consequences to your long-term health and welfare if you're in that category. When your body mass index goes between 30 and 35, you are now in the category of obese, and you have a 30% decrease in your overall life expectancy relative to somebody who's the same age and with the same medical problems who's in the regular category or the overweight category. As you go from the threshold of 35 to 40, you add another 30% of risk relative to those other people, but you become into the category of morbidly obese, and you will qualify for surgical intervention related to your obesity with a body mass index of 35 and a medical problem that's associated with your obesity. A body mass index of 35 is roughly equivalent to about 70 to 75 pounds over ideal weight. When your body mass index threshold goes over 40, you are super obese. And under that circumstance, you're approximately 100 pounds over your ideal weight. You don't even have to have an associated medical problem associated with that body mass index to qualify for surgery, because you are so overweight at that point that the likelihood of ever getting out from under that additional weight is almost zero statistically. Another 5 points of body mass index between 45 and 50, more risk, another 30% risk added for each point of 5 BMI that you go upwards. We as the American people lead the overall world in people with body mass indexes of 90, 100, 115, 120. And yes, there are people out there with that degree of morbid obesity. If you look at the data, the likelihood that people are going to be able to get out from under their obesity, independent of surgery, begins to crest at approximately 50 pounds overweight. This is about equivalent to a body mass index of 30. The likelihood of being able to lose your weight and keep it off goes almost to zero when you go over that threshold of 50 pounds overweight. You don't yet qualify for surgery. That's roughly equivalent to a body mass index of 30 to 35, between 50 and 70 pounds of ideal weight above ideal weight. Under one circumstance, you may qualify for surgery in that category, and that would be if you're interested in an adjustable gastric band. The lap band company performed a nationwide study on people in that low BMI category and found that they had very, very good success in weight loss associated with that group. The data was collected after 3 years and submitted to the FDA, and the FDA thought that the data was good enough that the procedure should be widely available to anybody with a body mass index between 30 and 35 and a medical problem associated with that weight. Unfortunately, the insurance companies didn't see it that way and didn't want to pay for the surgery. So under the circumstances that people have that body mass index between 30 and 35, they can ask to be approved to undergo a lap band procedure. And under the circumstances that someone comes into our office who's interested in that, we go through the insurance process to try to help them.